Thank you for staying with us, and sorry for that technical glitch at the beginning of the show. But let me also remind you that on the show today, we'll be turning our attention to matters of mergers and acquisition that are reshaping the economic landscape in Nigeria. Now, as a matter of data, the merger and acquisition market in Nigeria is projected to reach $1.9350 million by the end of 2024 with steady growth. Now, the key trends within the merger and acquisition space includes banking consolidation, which is driving potential mergers between mid-sized banks and acquisitions by large banks. Also, privatization of state assets, especially the potential deals that is gearing to heat up in power sector, infrastructure, and the transport sectors due to market demands for increased options and efforts. On a specific note, from the acquisition of Payforce by Fairmoney to the consolidation in the pension fund industry, the market is clearly abuzz with activities. Now, these moves are not just corporate strategies, they are pivotal events that reflect broader economic shifts and investor sentiments. Now, on the show today, we want to welcome you to join us as we delve into these developments with our guest, Stephen Nwachukwu, a seasoned financial market analyst, and Dr. Peter Daniel, an M&A specialist and policy analyst, to provide us with expert analysis on the implications of these mergers and acquisition and what they portend for investors and the market at large. But before then, we will receive Madema Owo, our product market analyst, on the zonal business and economy update to share with us her findings for the market. Stay with us as we uncover the dynamics driving Nigeria's financial landscape live on Market Movers. I'll be back after the short break. Now, thank you once again for remaining with us on Market Mover this beautiful day, and I hope that you are moving the market where you are. If you are not, stay tuned to this station as we'll be providing you all the facts and the figures that you need to ensure that you move the market in your neighborhood. And on the show today, like I told us earlier, we have Madema Owo on the zonal business and economy update on what's your findings for the market. Madema.
Thank you, Mr. Osai. On the business and zonal reports of the market products, yam production in Nigeria today happened to be the global leader in Nigeria's stockhold, contributing a staggering of 70 to 76% of the world's total yam output. In 2019, Nigeria produced approximately 16.2 million metric tons of yams, equivalent to about 2.4 tons per hectare. The country's yam production has nearly doubled since 1985, reaching 35.017 million metric tons in 2008, with a value equivalent of $5.654 billion US. In the midst of this supposed growth, yam has become a scarce commodity on the tables of average Nigerians. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the average price of 1 kilogram of yam tuber rose by 141.25% on a year-on-year basis from 443.02 naira in March 2023 to 1,068.78 naira in March 2024, and on a month-on-month basis, it increased by 5.8% from 1,956 naira in February 2024 to 1,068 in March 2024. And this increase has made yam expensive, leading to the selling of yams in pieces, making many people to conclude that we are fully into a scarce economy.
I don't get that.
Unfortunately, this is really the Nigeria's problem. But I would say, if Nigeria happened to be the most leading country
In the
to
production of
produce yams, then by now I think yam should be the cheapest
Product.
stock product to be sold in the market. Because the question is, why is this happening? From my research, Nigeria happened to be a supply price demand, more of the demand driven market. However, I would say, could this be a problem from the marketers or the farmers themselves, or the economy? If I would say the economy, I don't really see why Nigeria should be selling yams at a very increased cost if they are the source producers to produce yams.
Yeah, so I think that for me the critical issue is that from your findings we have come to the point where yam is being sold, in sachets, like they say.
Yeah, like I saw some photos where the market now have to break the yams into pieces
Exactly.
just to make it affordable for the people. But I am saying that if Nigeria is the stock leading producers of yam, then why should it be that way? Could it be that we are deceiving ourselves, or
No.
we're cheating on ourselves?
I think it's due to some economic fundamentals, like you talk about supply driven rather than being demand driven.
Yeah.
So the issue for me is don't forget Nigeria have suffered a lot of insecurity issues, which has also deprived most people from going to the farm. So that is an issue on one side. Then on the other side, you have the challenge of adequate funding, occasioned by the issue of inflationary, crisis that we are experiencing in the country. So on top of that, you have transportation issues that makes it difficult for farmers to also bring in farm produce from the farm. Then of course the key one is storage. So all these are contributing factors. But maybe let's see what do you have further in your report.
But at this time, this is what I would say. I think this is the right time for us to leverage on our strengths and the stock of production. If Nigeria, now let's reflect back to the basic requirements of this farmers planting: water, rain, sun, right? So now I believe that the economy doesn't hold the stage back of this basic things.
Yeah.
So the farmers, to me, I feel, should come out this time to say, we are the stock owners of this production, so let's own it and then use it very well to sell more in the market. I don't believe that somebody should steal your rights in your own position.
You can't sell what you don't have. All right. If you are not able to produce enough quantities for you to sell, you won't be able to have access to the yam to sell. So the critical issue is, yes, like you pointed out, it's raining.
I'm saying that they have all the requirements, so they should own it this time to say, yes, we are getting these products right as our own. So we don't have any reason to reserve these products to the market. We should own it. Let it be that Nigeria is the stock leading production or producers of this thing, and then it should not, I don't know, it should not, I don't really know, the market shouldn't suffer, this problem that the economy seems to throw at us. Why? Because we are saying that the economy is there.
You have a sentiment that suggests that the yam sellers, are kind of ripping off Nigeria.
Yeah, that is what I feel like. So I'm saying that it should be changed. That's what I'm saying.
Now, I think that is a wrong perception.
Tell me.
Yeah, because for what it was, the yam farmers are business people, and yam production and sales, or yam purchase and sales, because there are different supply chain or value chain in that process, is their own enterprise. All right, and from there they take care of their responsibilities. So whenever they do that sale of yam, that is what they will generate their income to go to the market. And currently what we are saying and what we are seeing is that there is high inflationary rate that is making even the reducing your purchasing power, for instance, to just simplify that analysis, it has devastated the purchasing power of these farmers. So on one side, they are not able to go to market, go to the farm. On the other side, they don't have the necessary facilities to be able to farm adequately. And so the cost of production has quadrupled.
Now, I understand what you're saying, and it's no doubt that this is a business platform for them, or an enterprise format for them to sell their businesses. But I'm just trying to change the narrative that if you are the sole owner of this production, then leverage on it by expanding more to the market there. Let people know that you own this. I don't know, but just be the stock leading producers to say.
It's just like, let me give you an instance.
Tell me.
Now you have this pad that you're using to do your job, essentially. All right, you have it, you own it. Okay, now if there's no power for you to charge this pad, will you be able to use it?
No, it's okay. I'm just saying, the Nigerian economy, that is their excuse, that this is why they are,
take us to your report. Take us to your report. Let's see whatever other things you have for us.
I know we're eager to really, really know what is really the cause of this problem. But however, let the marketers try to own this, just so that this part of the market will be cheaper and easier for the customers out there.
Okay.
All right. So in comparative advantages on the zones of this production, the yams thrive in various regions of Nigeria, including coastal regions within rainforest, wood savanna areas, southern savanna habitats. Ekiti State, for instance, employs both wetland and upland yam-based enterprises, with wetland systems being the most economically efficient, with a mean efficiency of 0.80%, followed closely by upland systems with a mean efficiency of 0.78%. While yam holds cultural significance in gatherings and religious functions, its production falls short of meeting the growing demand. Our findings indicate that Nigeria faces challenges in yam storage and distribution. Improving storage facilities and transportation networks is crucial for ensuring efficient yam sales.
So you get the gist now.
I've always gotten that gist. I've always gotten this. But we've always been on the factor that is the economy situation that's making this expensive.
The economy drives every facet of the national life and of our living. The market is driven by market forces. All right, supply and demand. Okay. Now, if you are able to supply, all right, then the market becomes stable. But if you're not able to supply and the demand is beyond or above your supply limit, then the market becomes very volatile. So that's exactly what we are experiencing in Nigeria today. And the finding that you have shared with us is to also support this notion that more needs to be done in terms of making, for instance, the storage of yam a bit more accessible to the farmers, all right, and of course making the transportation
easier for them to access
from the storage facilities or from the yam banks to the market. So these are the issues that I think your report is trying to bring to the fore, and I want to thank you for that, Madam.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very
much for staying with us. We're going to go for a quick break, and I'll be back with Stephen Nwachukwu and Dr. Peter Daniel to look at the financial landscape as that is doing with mergers and acquisition that is reshaping both the banking industry and the pension industry. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back after the short break. Thank you for staying with us on Market Movers, where we bring you the latest trends and insights on what is moving the market. from your neighborhood markets to the stock market. And on the program today, we'll be looking at what is driving, the financial landscape in Nigeria, from the banking consolidation that has been announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and some of the fireworks we are seeing within the power sector, even the pension industry as well. A lot of activities in all these fronts. And on the show today, we want to unpack what is really happening, what is driving these activities. Is it just corporate strategy, or it is a broader dimension of the financial landscape in Nigeria? And I am joined by Dr. Peter Daniels, an M&E specialist and a policy analyst on this show, as well as Stephen Nwachukwu, seasoned financial market analyst. Gentlemen, nice to see you guys. Can I say thank God it's Friday?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yes, thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, thank God it's Friday. So let me begin with Steve Nwachukwu. Steve, what are you seeing in the banking industry has been orchestrated by the Central Bank of Nigeria for new consolidation, and as well as in the pension industry, even the power sector? What are you seeing in terms of consolidation, merger and acquisition?
Well, I think first, mergers and acquisition are measures taken first to build a stronger, a more fundamental institution or sector. Merger and acquisition is also meant for some corporate strategies, perhaps to build a stronger fund to undertake other bigger and larger functions in that sector in the society. So most often it's actually to build a stronger, or perhaps to also save a dying company. You can engage in acquisition. Most often in merger is when two companies see their strategics and see the areas they can actually do better. If they come together, they decide to move into merger. But the entirety of acquisition is when perhaps you are struggling to survive in a sector, or you are having issues around liquidity. The best you can do than to liquidate is to move into acquisition. Acquisition also gives the existing board, depending the nature of the acquisition, gives also some level of commitment, some level of exposure, some level of interest that you also have in the company that is actually acquiring the liquidating company. So it's always a measure to be the more stronger, more fundamental, and also to pull strength. And like you also said, it could be also for some strategies of corporate strategies to even to absence to target more businesses, larger businesses or larger responsibilities in that sector. Thank you.
Thank you. So, from your point of view, before I go to Dr. Peter, from your point of view, the merger and acquisition sector, or strategy in Nigeria, because if you look at, for instance, you look at developed economies, the US, for instance, merger and acquisition is something that it's not just for companies that are about dying, or companies that want to raise funds. It could be a way of trying to pool resources together in order to take on a bigger project or a bigger size of the market. But in the Nigerian context, I don't know if we have really, because based on our findings, the size of the merger and acquisition market in Nigeria so far for this year is just within the neighborhood of $1.3 million. Do you think it's actually a strategy that is being adopted by Nigerian companies, adequately, so to speak?
Like I said earlier, merger and acquisition is a business strategy. Like I said also, if perhaps you are being acquired, you also, in some terms, you also have a stake in the company that is acquiring you. Perhaps you can get 10, 15, 20% stake in the company, just like we saw when Oceanic Bank was acquired by Eco Transnational. We also witnessed that when Diamond Bank merged with Access Bank. So that we always had very opportunity for those existing companies to have a stake, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40%, depending the strength of your fundamentals that you bargain with such merger or such acquisition. So it's always, like I said, a business strategy to be more stronger, to have more front, to have more fund, or to be even more fundamentally bigger or stronger to engage in other higher business ventures. So it's a whole, around the whole world is a business strategy. It's not peculiar to Nigeria, but there are opportunities for people to be stronger and to pull resources together, beyond pulling resources together, to also pull skills together, pull knowledge together, pull opportunities together. You may have the opportunity that you have a vast land that perhaps, okay, take for instance, you are into mining, you have a vast land that is a lot of gold or minerals in it. But you don't have the capacity of machinery to actually extract these minerals. You go into merger or acquisition or whatever form with a bigger company that has those machineries, facilities to extract these mineral resources. It simply means you are doing it for that business strategy to make accessible machines available to you and the existing companies able to extract those mineral resources. So it's, like I said, it's a business strategy and it's not peculiar to Nigeria. A good number of companies that move into such business strategy. We witness the NNPC acquired about 100% of the retail outlet of Owando. As we speak now, you cannot find any single Owando filling station as we speak, because they move into business strategy with Owando and acquired all their retail outlets. All retail outlet that Owando used to be, Owando is now an NNPC on. So such kind of business strategies can be done because you see that an NNPC is bigger, it's more liquid, it's more fundamental. You gain more when you move into such merger or offer for such acquisition with such entities. So it's always a good one. Like I said, it's a business strategy.
Can you hear me? Now, looking at the Nigerian business landscape, sometimes we see most of our, like the last time we talked about the size of the Nigerian stock market, and we were looking at Dangote coming in as a $20 billion business to list in the Nigerian stock market, and that will automatically jumpstart or kind of increase the size of Nigerian stock market. And we alluded to the fact that some of our major companies, permit me to say, like Globacom, for instance, and the likes of them, are not listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And if you also go down, the part of small businesses, you discover that most business owners, most founders, will prefer to hold on to, their business. They wouldn't want to, give in, like Steve is telling us, that merger and acquisition is a business strategy. They wouldn't want to take that route, that strategy, in order to navigate, economic challenges, or navigate certain problems that the business might be facing through, or even to just join forces with a bigger company in order to to grow bigger and expand into new markets. What are you saying? Are there specific merger and acquisition that you have seen that can give that notion, that can give that vent to say that we are coming up in terms of adopting merger and acquisition as a strategy in our business environment? Dr. Peter. Peter, can you hear me? Okay, I think we're having some.
The network is, I don't know, it's kind of breaking into peak 50 words. Yeah, there's some technical on my side, so I'm struggling to hear most of the things you're saying.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Dr. Peter? Okay, so while we try to sort
yes,
out.
I can hear you now, please.
Okay, great. So I'm asking, looking at the Nigerian business environment, sometimes most of our business owners don't appreciate the strategy of merger and acquisition. I was asking if what you are seeing so far gives some level of comfort or some level of benefit of doubt that in Nigeria business environment we are beginning to appreciate or to take or adopt the merger and acquisition strategy like Steve just pointed out.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sai, for having me again. Yes, just like Steve pointed out, it's a business strategy and it's not new. It's not something new. And even in Nigeria, over the years, we've had some of it, right? In 2011, we had Access Bank. We also had them in 2019 doing the same thing. Even currently in 2023 down till now, they've been very bullish in the acquisition. In Kenya, in Mozambique, in Botswana, they've been doing this. So it's a business strategy that helps you grow to become probably more robust. So in the Nigerian space, it's not completely new. We are doing it actually, but one will say more will be good, right? More will be good because look at the United States. How many businesses in Nigeria say have lasted, say, 100 years? Right? Even up to now, Coca-Cola is still to do more business.
Yeah.
You see them buying. They bought some stake in Chivita. Eventually, they came up to try to buy over 100%, about 100% or so. Of Chi, that means they are still imbibing this culture. So it's a business strategy, just like Steve said, and it's a good one. And Nigeria is not. We are doing our own bit a little.
Yeah.
So we'll catch up. It's a good one to go. It's a good way to go.
Okay. Thank you very much. So let me quickly go back to Steve. Steve, are you there? Now, if you say, Steve, that merger and acquisition is a business strategy, that can help even a struggling company, to survive, certain economic headwinds. What happened to Heritage Bank? Why was it that we learned that, for a fact, First Bank actually borrowed, through a letter of credit, to Heritage Bank over 400 billion naira. So why were they not able to structure some form of merger and acquisition between Heritage Bank and First Bank?
I think, let me start from this note. In as much as I said earlier that is a business strategy, some business strategy can also be ugly and bad.
Yeah.
The details of what you are getting in may not be that fantastic, and you may decide to pull that. For an institution like a bank, a commercial bank, to be liquidated means there's a lot bad about it, because it's a very good venture that any commercial bank should grab to expand their branches, expand their frontiers, and expand their market. The market is the number of accounts that exists with this Heritage Bank, which are the customers. So nobody will see over 1 million or over 500,000 accounts with Heritage, and will not want to maintain relationship with such accounts. So perhaps there are some things that are quite deeper that we are not aware, that resulted or give reason to why CBN have to take that very hard decision of total liquidation of such institutions. So I know for sure, yes, banks were interested, just like we mentioned. First Bank was here, and good number of all the first-tier banks are interested to acquire or merge with any of the existing commercial banks. The devil is in the details. Until we have the details, and to find out the level of exposure and depth exposure of that institution, then we can be able to speak with such details. So for now, I think CBN have taken their decision, and I don't think it's political. I believe they have looked at the books. The books were quite ugly. So there couldn't have been any strategic business arrangement of acquisition that would have saved. It would have mean you acquire their debt or liabilities they look, nothing good in them.
That is ugly, like you said, because I think we are hearing also that certain categories of person took a loan from Heritage Bank of up to 700 billion naira that has run into kind of a bad debt, which they are, I understand that the CBN and NDIC are trying to see how they can, get some of those funds back. But let me come to Dr. Peter. As an MIE expert or an MIE specialist, what do you see that could have been the issue with, Heritage Bank, in your view? Was it that they could not monitor their customers properly, or they could not monitor or evaluate their business exposure, their debt exposure, portfolio exposure, and what have you?
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. For the case of Heritage Bank, just like Steve have said, this current situation they find themselves did not just fall on them. It didn't just happen overnight. So, they keep their books. Their books they will have been seeing the rate of non-performing loans over the years, right? They will have been seeing what the books will say. So probably there are a lot of things that we don't know that is not out there. So I would say, if I can say from an outside point of view, it probably management issues. Probably that there are indicators or figures that they took the levity, they didn't take serious. Because if your non-performing loan is high and you are still giving more loans, of course, you add up people's money to another person who is not going to pay back. So from the monitoring and evaluation perspective, they cannot say they don't know.
Yeah.
Because they keep non-performing loans. They have these books. They know what their ratios are saying. So it didn't just happen. So probably negligence here and there, and I think CBN, from what I read also, we are already picking pieces of information here and there. This is not the CBN must have communicated them prior now. And of course, just like you said, First Bank coming in. So it's something that has lingered for some time before this past decision was taken. I mean, it's not to have a customer base of about 2.3 million is a good one, but for no bank to come in to buy that large customer base, then that means there's something hidden that we don't know.
There's something
probably
deep.
A little
There's something deep that is beyond our our external view. Okay, so let me go to.
Sorry to butt in. To add to what my co-panelist said.
Yes.
Yeah, Peter. I think we also should look at it from this perspective, that the posture of this very current administration of the central bank, they are not ready to, expose the Nigerian government to further, bailouts. If you remember, before now, you will hear that they acquire a certain billions worth of bad debts
by AMCON,
and, push and push AMCON to go and look after and get those money. So I think this posture they have is that if you are bad, we will withdraw your license. We are not ready to, spend billions and trillions of taxpayers' money because of your recklessness, like Peter has said. And I'm very sure also that CBN perhaps must have been warning them, giving them notices that this is not good, books are not reading well, this is going to be your consequences. Instead of sacking the management and appointing new people, then injecting fresh funds to them, CBN choose to totally withdraw their sorry, we cannot continue. We are not liquid enough to start bailing any banks now. If you're going down, go down, let's save the depositors. I think that's also what may have happened.
So, in your opinion, do you think that, because if we want to also give some country experience, we understand from the US during the financial crisis of, is it 2008? 2008, yes. Barack Obama, working side by side with the CBN governor of the United States, I can't seem to, the Treasury uh, Secretary of the United States actually designed a package that bailed some of their banks out. And it has been a pattern over the years across the countries. But to be specific, my question is, do you think this action of the CBN, in your words, suggesting that it's going to protect the depositors, from what we are hearing in this Heritage Bank issue, do you think this will actually protect the depositors? For instance, those that have over 50 million with the bank, those that have over 20 million with the bank, and in this instance, they are saying they are paying everybody 5 million. What do you think?
Is that for me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, before I even answer that, I think let's also look at it from this perspective that it's beyond yet that the CBN is there to protect the interests of the depositors, regardless of what be the consequences to the shareholders. There are regulations, just like you said, the law says that this is what you're going to get, this is what and what you're going to if this happens. And I'm sure that is the rules that they are applying. So I think that's the exposure. That's why we need some level of financial stability. That's why we don't need to start hearing issues around liquidation or whatever may have happened to Heritage Bank to happen to any other financial institution or commercial.
Okay. So
and the rest of the regulators in these sectors need to sit up and start looking at the books of these very institutions and see how far they can guide against a reputation of this nature.
Okay.
So if the rule says,
yeah, finish your talk, Sam.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So if the rule says this is the percentage you get, sorry, that is the rule. But there is also a precedent that we have set beyond the what you mentioned, the United States of 2008, when we had the global meltdown, which also split over to other African countries and the rest of the world. We also saw some level of intervention of our commercial bank and our government, because CBN is part and parcel of the government. So they rescued, as we speak now, about 3 or 4 banks is in custody of the CBN, as in CBN is the sole owner. As government, they have nationalized about 3 of them. What do you call the Keystone Bank, Sky, a couple of them, former Afri Bank. Polaris. They are all nationalized. But this time CBN choose not to nationalize Heritage Bank. They decided to liquidate, withdraw their license. CBN does not have money to start spending to rescuing or pumping to intervene in the case of liquidation or bankruptcy of the bank.
Great.
So like I said, the rules is there, whatever percentage.
Yeah, thank you. Let me quickly get the perspective of Dr. Peter. I can see that he's itching to say something on that matter. Dr. Peter.
From me, from the policy perspective, when we talk development, right? Development economics, of course, we prioritize security. The next thing we look at welfare. So why the actions of CBN may be okay policy-wise, rules and regulation-wise, and other perspective, they don't have money to spend. But in the long run, this is coming to cause more hardship to the about 2.3 million people who have accounts with Heritage Bank. I know on one front, right, is sending a sound warning that no bank should think CBN will come in to rescue you again. And so it's not business as usual. We're not going to pick up your liabilities, pick up your debt. We're not going to take that into part of our own books, right? So that gives a good warning there. But on the other front, and previously in the show, we were discussing how they now cut yam into 2.
Yes.
Right? So imagine 2.3 million Nigerians who will be affected by this, because NDIC is saying they will pay, I think, 5 million below, right? That's what they will be paying. So I just feel, so if I have 20 million in Heritage Bank, that of how many Nigerians actually read the rules and regulation before opening the bank account? Personally, I don't read.
Yeah.
So how many Nigerians know that is this the amount you can get, this is the exposure, this is what is insured? How many Nigerians know that? Right? So if I don't know that and I have 20 million, for instance, and I'm struggling probably to do business and all, and you just come and tell me CBN wake up overnight and say I don't have any money, I should come and take 5 million. I mean, it does not so. Development wise, it's a harsh decision. It's a harsh decision. Not at this point when almost every house, we are not even feeling fine in Nigeria. Where almost every household is complaining. So that's my own. That's my
Mr. Nwachukwu, are you hearing that? So yeah. Policy wise.
No. To add to that.
Yes.
I think, unfortunately, banking business. There's no clause, there's no form, account opening form or KIC that suggests that if you are liquidating, this is what you're going to get. So there's nothing in the profile of that customer to judge. Well, if I put 10 million now, if anything happens to you, that this is what I'm going. Actually, it's from the NDIC, the act that establishes the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Commission, that says, yes, this is the kind of liabilities we can acquire. This is how much we can rescue depositors. That's the act that establishes them, not actually anything that has to do with CBN or the commercial bank's operations. There is no such document that suggests that. Rather, it's the insurance aspect of it that says, if anything happens, my capacity as an institution is to absorb this same certain percentage, like we are hearing 5 million maximum for those who actually have, even if it's a billion, which I know to an extent is not an all round. If I have a 5 billion, you can't be telling me, and the total liability of the company may be 10 billion. And you are able up to 8 million assets. You can't be telling me what you give me is just 5 million. No.
Now, Steve,
I hope you're getting the argument.
Yes, I'm getting the issue, but again.
No, my argument. I think I need to establish the argument to also dissuade these fears that whatever you have, what you get is just 5 million. No. If I have a billion naira in account with a bank,
yes,
and the liability at the point of liquidation of the bank is, let's assume, 10 billion. I have 1 billion fixed deposits.
Yes.
And the asset of the company is worth 11 billion or worth 9 billion.
Yes.
So I can't be told that the percentage you give to me is just 5 million naira.
Yeah.
Because already the asset of the company.
And don't forget, don't forget, you are not the only one that is a depositor with that bank or that company, for instance. But my point is
that's the point I'm making. My point is the percentage of the amount.
Now the question I'm trying to ask here.
I'm talking about assets.
I understand.
Is the value of the company.
I understand. I wanted to point out something, because if NDIC has come out to clearly put it out there that they are paying 5 million maximum, you are a rules-based person, all right? That means whether you have, because we have persons that have hundreds of millions that have come out to to cry and to say this cannot happen and all that.
Yes.
NDIC has said 5 million, so it means that if you must get any other thing, it's going to take an extra effort on your own part to be able to do that. So what I'm trying to bring out is it that it is time for NDIC to increase their insurance capacity of these banks on one side. Then on the other side is what you and Dr. Peter has pointed out, which is it is time for CBN to also be more effective, more consistent in their fiduciary responsibilities to these banks, in their monitoring, supervisory or regulatory responsibilities of this industry. Your last comment, sir.
Okay. For me, of course, more maybe will I call it advocacy or maybe information. So depositors should be more informed or maybe try to get more knowledge as to these risks and all this. But my comment on this, CBN has already taken their position. Probably there's nothing anybody can do. But if there's anything the federal government can do about it, I would say the former way they handle issues like this will have been the best. Because you tell me my 20 million is now 5 million, it's not too good. And also, Mr. Steve, just now, if you have 1 billion, right? Now, for you to have a billion naira in the bank, there's a level of command you will have in that bank, right? There's a level of voice you will have. So I'm not really interested in your people with 1 billion. I'm just looking at people who have maybe 7 million, right? 10 million.
Yeah.
You know, just little money. They don't have that voice somebody with 1 billion will have.
Yeah, because like
So
we had that First Bank, immediately the license were being withdrawn. First Bank had actually gone to recover that 4 and something billion naira from the bank. So we are running out of time. Just your last word, Mr. Steve.
Yes, I think it's just to amplify what you said earlier. It is time to review the regulations or how they establish Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corp. Yes, so that the insurance package or insurance coverage should be higher, so that you can give confidence to depositors. I think that is the way forward. And CBN needs to improve in their regulations too.
Yeah. So CBN needs to improve on the regulation. NDIC needs to review the act, setting it up to see whether they can actually increase their maximum payout for depositors in times like this. Because like Dr. Peter is saying, in this era where we are moving into more of a saturated economy where yam is being cut into pieces to sell to buyers, it becomes very, very unacceptable for someone that have 10 million or 15 million or 20 million in the bank to wake up one night and see that his money has been cut into half. That is what we have for you on the show today. This Market Movers, where we bring to you the trends and the insights happening in the financial market, giving you information on the individuals and institutions that are moving the market. Until we come your way again, don't forget to follow our social media handles so that you will be informed of what is moving the market in your neighborhood. Until then, bye for now.